All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another week of Explore Your Faith Live with Social Thread. I'm Rob Reinders, and I'm here with my good friends,
Amy Napalm.
And Robert Payne.
Yes. And we are here each week for 30 minutes to mostly entertain ourselves, I think. But if you happen to be watching and have ever wondered what Social Thread is all about and what these meetups we do during the week is, this is your chance to check out a shortened version of it. And we will tell you about how you can get involved in those non-live streamed versions of our meetups at the end of the meeting. But today we're going to jump right in. What we do a little icebreaker question, and then we jump into three sort of articles and topics that have been in the news or interesting publications this week. And we each bring our own faith perspective and just perspective in general to it, and try to have an interesting conversation. So here we go. Our icebreaker question today, guys, is, as soon as I find it here. oh, I remember this one. If you had a personal assistant to follow you around all the time and they could do anything, what would you have them do?
I will say I came up with this one pretty quick.
Yeah.
So because I have been wanting somebody to prepare my food for me. I love cooking.
Yeah.
But I'm on mostly a plant-based diet, and my family is not, and grocery shopping and figuring out what to make. And sometimes I would like to be able to cook when I want to, but generally somebody prepares our family's meals.
Okay. So if you're on a plant-based diet, does that mean souffles are out? Because I know a guy who can do souffles.
I cannot have a souffle unless I need to figure out how to make a vegan one, because
okay. Yeah.
But it sounds delicious.
Nice.
Yeah. For me, I really had a hard time with this question because for the most part, I really enjoy almost everything that I do. Even if it's like just, I don't know, maybe I think maybe probably would just be like housekeeping, that'd probably be, but I still enjoy taking care of my house and, dishes and, so that would probably be it. It would probably be more like a housekeeper than a personal assistant.
Yeah. I think for me, it would be someone to handle all my email and social media. Yeah. So they could read my social media for me. They could write all the happy birthdays on Facebook and all that stuff. They would have to get to know me really well so they could like the things I would like and share the things I would share. And then we could have a meeting each week, and it could be like, I think we need to decrease our likes on dogs and babies just about 10%. I like them, but maybe not as much. It's yes, sir. Yeah. Anyway, until then,
if you can up the man gets bitten by dog, that would be great. That's my personality.
Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling a little salty this week, so can you kind of be a jerk to a few people, like out of the blue? Thanks. All right, so we're gonna move on to our first topic now that we've broken the ice. But first, a little product placement.
So cool.
It's the brand new Social Thread water bottle. And boy, there has been ice water in here for hours, and it's still cold.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic. So if you show up to multiple meetups, you too can have a Social Thread water bottle. And now back to our regular scheduled programming.
Looks so cool. I cannot wait.
Okay. I'm really excited about this first topic. It's called Heavy Metal Hoax. And it's this Rolling Stone article I read about this guy. His name is Jared Threaten Eames. And the article is about how he's like the most popular heavy metal star you never heard of. That he had this huge social media presence. He had all these websites with an agent and a recording studio label and like all these things. And he managed to use that huge web presence to book all these clubs like over in Europe, not arenas and stuff, but well-known like rock clubs. And he'd show up and there'd be no fans there. And the promoters would be like, what's going on? And they managed to do like 3 or 4 shows before someone was like, okay, something's up here, including the band. And
Oh,
it turns
wow.
out the whole thing was a hoax.
Mhm.
The guy's a musician and apparently, good enough to pass himself off and hire a band, but he totally manufactured all of the websites and all of his fame and everything. And if you can actually go on and listen to his music, it's pretty cheesy, which is awesome. But anyway, even after he got busted for this and people got really mad, he still wants to become a rock star. So he's still trying to work to make it. And now I think it's kind of a publicity stunt that he faked his way to fame.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like Tommy Wiseau in that movie, The Room. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. We could have a whole meetup around The Room.
I need to see that movie before.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to see The Room, and then you need to see the movie about the making of The Room.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress. So this all brought to mind, we all kind of have an alter ego, or we all have like parts of ourselves that maybe we wish could be a little louder in the world, or that we might reveal to the world, but we might be embarrassed to. I was wondering if you guys have any like goofy alter egos or anything that's like, man, I've been suppressing this part of me for all my life, and just gotta be me. I have one. I know I've been talking for a while already.
Yeah.
So, confession, I don't like liturgical dancing, and I don't like it in church. I also don't like bell choirs or clowns or puppets. Yeah.
Clowns.
So, no clowns in church.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's such a thing as clowns in church. It's quite terrifying. Anyway, but my wife is a very great dancer, and she's done lots of liturgical dancing with her sister. And when we were all living together, when Melissa and I first got married and her sister was in grad school, they would choreograph their dances in our apartment. And it was a small apartment. I didn't have anywhere to go. So I would help them choreograph. And I created an alter ego named Robert. And he's a French liturgical dance choreographer. Yes. And I ended up giving them some pretty good tips that they took to heart and put in their dances. Robert hasn't visited in quite a while, but he's always available for hire. So if you're listening out there and you've made it this far into the live stream, you need to dance some dance moves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your guy. Yeah. Robert's your guy.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's all I have to say to that is wow.
I think I'm going to delete this one as soon as it's posted. See, I got super vulnerable on that one, and everyone else is like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't have anything." Yeah, just like you guys now. So you may not have French choreographers living deep inside of you, but surely there's like something that, like if you could be your true self in the world, what would it be? Would you? Oh, Robert, you're on mute.
Right. Yeah. I know I have one. Is that I also could be a sketch writer for Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
In any situation, I always have a Saturday Night Live sketch that could go along with the situation that I'm in, including this one right now.
Right.
And so that's probably my alter ego as a Saturday Night Live sketch writer.
Brilliant.
Gosh. I had a really hard one with this because I think it's more maybe that thing is amplifying is maybe the arrow or the kind of direction I would go in.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I maybe just cared less sometimes about what other people think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like I have lots of thoughts, and those of you who know me who have seen, like, I like to share my thoughts, especially in small groups,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm less likely to kind of broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to I wish I could like amplify my like broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To just say what you really want to say, but to a large group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And hopefully in a way that's like, I don't mean to want to be mean and stuff like
Right.
that, but like just have the courage maybe. I think I would be more courageous.
Ooh, okay.
would be my amplification. I think I have little bits of it, but I would
Yeah.
like to be more courageous.
Yeah, that's good. Excellent. That one seems more helpful than my goofy
Liturgical
one,
dance.
so, liturgical dance
Yeah.
choreographer. Yeah. But I too, when I was a high school student, I wanted to be a heavy metal star. So I
Who doesn't?
yeah, right. What teenage boy who whoever saw Slash, play the guitar didn't want to be a heavy metal guy. Anyway, lots of digressions tonight. I don't know what's going on. It's probably the never-ending heat in Arizona. It's just driving us all nuts. Yeah.
No doubt.
So, moving on to our next topic. Do you guys know what the bystander effect is? You ever take sociology in college, or might have talked to it in high school? So, the bystander effect is that phenomena that happens when, like, you're out in public. There's a lot of people. Not really happening a lot these days, depending on what state you're in. And something bad happens to a person, or somebody's getting attacked, or they fall down and have a heart attack, and there's 50 people standing around and they all see it happening, but they don't do anything about it. There's like this paralysis that hits the crowd. It's like, okay, we all notice there's this terrible thing happening right in front of us. There's a person in need of help, but we're not going to do anything about it. And sort of social scientists think that's because we think somebody else is going to do it, is going to help out, or because nobody else is helping out. Well, maybe there's a reason nobody's helping out. So maybe that person is infected with the plague, and if I go near them, they all know something I don't know. So anyway, it's just interesting about it. And then thinking in the terms of the parable of the Good Samaritan that Jesus tells, which is sort of the opposite of the bystander effect. There's the guy lying in the ditch, the religious people walk by, but the Samaritan, who's the outsider, who's, the opposite of the good Jewish guy down in the ditch, comes and helps the guy, saves his life, basically. And they ask, well, who is the neighbor in this story? And they say, well, obviously it was the Samaritan, the outsider. Telling us that this powerful narrative of we can all and should be neighbors to each other. So I think that's interesting when that intersects with this bystander effect, and especially when we have a lot of screens in our hands these days, and we see a lot of terrible things being filmed. I was just wondering, what do you guys think about the bystander effect in light of like the Good Samaritan, in light of everything going on in the world today? Like, do you find that to be true, or do you think that's kind of a myth?
I think the bystander effect is real, because I think that things happen and people watch, and then you have people who will jump in and do something and interact, but it's certainly not the norm. So I think the bystander effect's real. I think it was around before social media. I don't think social media caused the bystander effect.
No.
But I wonder if it just speaks to a kind of larger feeling of powerlessness sometimes, of like, we feel like, well, I'm not a hero, or I can't make a difference, or there's somebody who's going to be better at it than me, or more equipped. And there are places there I could see social media actually influencing that is how we see ourselves.
Yeah. I kind of think that social media has the opposite effect in some ways of shaming, and in a way, some shame is good. So shame can drive us to action. Too much shame can be terrible, but the fact that some of this stuff does get brought to light, and people have to sort of face it, and you can't turn away from it, or it's harder to ignore injustice happening in the streets or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if social media really influences the bystander effect in the traditional sense, but what it does do is it turns a lot of people into this idea of being the celebrity documenter, and try whatever they can do to get a video to go viral, and no matter what that video is. And so by definition, instead of like the bystander effect, it would be like the celebrity documenter effect.
Yeah.
And which is just as dangerous.
Yeah. I was thinking of this too in a global sense of, did we talk about future tripping last week?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that plays a little in here too when we see climate change. Like you just see how terrifying the numbers are with climate change. We're experiencing now. We had the hottest summer in Arizona ever, I think. And it wasn't even by a little. It was like by a lot. We're still setting a record for 100-degree days in the state. You could sit there and think like, I'm experiencing this terrible thing going on, but I'm not going to, like, what could I possibly do about it? What can one person possibly do about it? So therefore it's an impossible thing to tackle, and I will do nothing. I'm paralyzed. But I think you could still go back to that Good Samaritan story. And the anecdote is help one person, do one thing,
I wonder though, if the Good Samaritan passed a ditch with 1,000 people in it, if he would have stopped to help, because like the problem seems so big, does helping one person really matter versus, hey, I can help one person. So I wonder where it, to your exact point, like the complexity or the size of the issue.
Yeah.
I wonder how that influences.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting thought experiment. Yeah. I mean, Jesus was trying to make a very specific point with the story, but we'll take it. Let's take it out of context for fun. It's a thought experiment. Yeah.
I'm all about the Good Samaritan. I love the Good Samaritan story. Love your neighbor.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to imagine it, walking up to the ditch and seeing, like, you can see kind of part of a person, like, oh my God, I got to help this person. And like getting up to the edge and being like, there's 1,000 people, and be like, oh, just kidding. Like,
yeah. Yeah. But could you still help that one person? Like it's,
yeah.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, to the story's credit and putting the story in context, I think that that the point is to just even notice the one person, because I think as society, and I know I'm definitely guilty of it, is where you're just not even, concentrating so much on yourself, you don't even see the person, you don't see the person that needs help. And so, let's start by one, just recognizing one, and then let's move on, continue to move on, So.
Yeah, I think that's good. And you can't change everything. You can't solve the world's biggest problems by yourself, but you can start with one person and go from there. Brilliant. All right, we did it. We saved the world, guys. Nice. Boom. See, these are helpful times together on Wednesday night. Speaking of life, our third and final topic for the night comes from an article in The Guardian written by a guy, and the title of it is At 31, I Have Just Weeks to Live. Here's what I want to pass on. And the guy's name is Elliot Dallin, and he actually passed away a few weeks after writing this article. But he writes, after the gut punch of cancer diagnosis, I have really struggled to define my purpose for my own life. I found in time this came naturally. Life is for enjoyment. Make of it what you can. He also outlined 5 things he found are really important to him. Gratitude, a life well lived is long enough, be vulnerable and connect to others, do something for others, and protect the planet. So the question for you guys is, of those 5 traits, which are really cool, by the way, which one of these 5 traits of a purposeful life, which one resonates most with you? So for me, it's the life well lived. And, I didn't think about it until I read the article and this phrase specifically. A life well lived is long enough. I'm always thinking about, oh my God, I haven't done enough. I haven't accomplished enough things. I still got kids to raise. Then I'll have grandkids. I got this career to finish, and all these life decisions. I got to take out the garbage cans next Monday or Sunday evening. All this, like, I'm always living in the future of like, I haven't finished, I haven't accomplished anything yet. But if I stop and pause and think back on everything I've done in my life, I've been incredibly privileged, and incredibly blessed, and have been able to do 10 times as many things as I think a lot of people ever get to do in their entire lives. And of course, I want to live on for my friends and my family and the enjoyment of life and do whatever it is I'm supposed to do. But I don't know if I'm in a content place, but I'm trying to be more content about, like, you know, if it was all over tomorrow, if the meteor comes tomorrow, which it might, there's still 3 whole months left in 2020, guys. If the meteor comes tomorrow, I'd be like, you know what? I think I did okay. I did all right. Yeah.
I think mine's the I feel really strongly about the connect with others and be vulnerable, and opening ourselves up to other people. But it ties so closely into the next one of do something for others. Because I think the result of opening yourself up is you do things for others.
Yes.
Or in my mind, that's the natural progression. I don't know that it always happens, but that's, I guess, what I'm striving to do. I think I try to connect and be vulnerable, and then I'm trying to move into that next stage because I think it's really important to do something for others.
Yeah, I think I probably resonate most with the connect with others, and I'll say that's what I that resonates with me, and then it's the one that I always want to work on. You know, so it's probably one that's at the most forefront in my mind, because I think that, you know, relationships and that's what I have, and that's what's so valuable.
Nice.
And I say all of that, but I would also go back to what he wrote in the paragraph around protect the planet. If we don't do that, everything else is for naught. Right. So he kind of put in there, he'd be remiss without mentioning that part. Yeah. And so I will say the same thing. I think that part is pretty darn critical.
Yeah. And it turns out, if you're overwhelmed by the problems of the planet, you can just start with one thing or one person. I learned that somewhere. I heard that somewhere earlier, but I can't pin it down.
Or plant a tree.
Yeah.
Like one tree.
Right.
Yeah. So one thing we're trying to add in here is like a weekly takeaway or weekly action of like, hey, we had this really cool highbrow conversation, and pat ourselves on the back for how smart and insightful we are. But like, what's a practical thing from this? Like, what, considering these 5 traits of a purposeful life, and we all just said, hey, this one is most important for us. What's one thing you can do over the next week to be more mindful in that area? I think for me, it's just stopping and, I don't know, as simple as saying thank you. You know, stopping my body, stopping my mind, slowing my breathing, and just being thankful for everything up until that moment.
Yeah. I love this. A phrase a buddy of mine, used. He said, when you're, really feeling, down, or you're, kind of frustrated with your place in life, he said, use the phrase, I get to, and throughout the day, remark, I get to go to work. There are a lot of people that don't get to go to work. Or I get to have a time with my family. I get to live in a house. I get to I get to sleep on a comfortable mattress. And you start to doing this thing, kind of practice throughout the day of going, you know what? I need to focus on the things that I get to do.
Yeah.
Versus, boy, you know, there's so many roadblocks in my life, and you know, the whole world's against me, and you know, but if you can flip that around and say, you know, hey, I get to do
Mhm.
this, to do this, then you know, so that's probably the one thing that I always need to be working on is the idea of being gratitude, but gratitude in the small things.
Mhm. It's brilliant.
My thought that I was thinking about earlier today as I was packing my son's lunch and I was putting a little pre-packaged Jell-O that comes in a package and is in a package and has a thing on top of it. I was like, I need to figure out a way to have like one thing that I figure out how to either we don't need anymore, or I can figure out how to get it in a less packaged manner.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's my planet. That's my helping the planet is how do I find like one or two things that we normally get that I can reduce the packaging on.
Ooh, brilliant.
Doing research
That's
into
good.
that and figuring that out. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know.
Yeah. Amy at amynotbomb.com.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your
That's
email
not
address
how.
is. No. I mean, I have it. It's saved in an address book on my computer, but I just type in your name on my phone. Yeah.
Send it out to Social Thread and they'll get it to me.
Yeah, exactly. Leave a comment.
Yes.
Leave a comment
Go.
Here we go.
on the post and Amy will see it. Yes. All right. Well, awesome conversation as always, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're watching and you want to be a part of conversations like this, if you've been social distancing for the last 6+ months now, even if you're sick of being on Zoom calls or whatever, if you want to get on a Zoom that actually is not life sucking but life giving, and you want to talk about life, you want to talk about faith, you want to laugh really hard, we do a lot of that. There's some crying too. There's some legit crying. You want to connect with others and be vulnerable, please come check us out on Tuesday and Thursday nights. We know that can be a scary thing, but we're really welcoming group and really friendly folks. So you can go to socialthread.org/meetups and you can sign up for a Tuesday or a Thursday meetup. And you know what? If that's not your thing, Robert's going to tell you how else you can support our work.
Yeah. So say, you know, if you see how you could, view that maybe some other people that might find this nonprofit meaningful, but it's not something that you would attend on a regular basis, you still can get involved by donating. You go to socialthread.org/support and get involved that way.
Yeah. Well, guys, another successful conversation, and looking forward to actually, I'm taking my first legitimate vacation in, I can't tell you guys the last time I actually went on vacation where I turned off email and stuff.
Nice.
So that's what's happening next week. So
Wow.
as long as the meteor doesn't come. So, so I'm very looking forward to that. So you guys, I know will crush it, and folks can look forward to that. Anyway, see you guys in a couple weeks, and you guys will see everyone else next week.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Take care,
Have a good
everybody.
week, everyone.
Yeah.
See ya.